A. One moment. Yeah, I shall later do a recording as well. If you want to download it, yeah, you can do so. Okay, where's my... Where's my link? Okay. I tag you on Twitter.
I will retweet it.
Okay, it's done. And now I can close my website and I can concentrate on here. Hi everyone. Take your time. Retweeting or something?
Yes, I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Hi everyone. And I know most of you are probably going to watch this on replay, but yeah, thank you for joining us. And today we have a guest. Today is a Slice of Life season 2, I will have to say. And opening season 2, I have my good friend here, Chryssa, and I will pass the mic to her so she can tell you a bit more on herself.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here and kind of share my experience. I've been on my spiritual journey for now almost 2 years. I would say maybe I kind of did it a little backwards, but it was what was right for me. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, is going for what feels right to you. That has been a big part of my spiritual journey for me. And I hope that I can inspire or just offer a relatable perspective to anyone that tunes in.
I definitely sure that, a lot of people will find this helpful. And yeah, welcome, Chryssa, and I'm so happy to have you here. Yeah, it is a very important and interesting topics that we have here. I personally have been, seeing an emphasis on this the past 3 to 4 months time. I think a lot more people are starting to be like, hey, I have my personal choices. And yeah, like they'll be like, why did I break out of religion and just, going to listen to people who is telling them advices on, I don't know, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, so many of us are starting to realize that, and we are be like, maybe it's time to take a step back and start thinking for ourselves. So yeah, maybe Chryssa, you can share a little bit on your experience with personal choices. Yeah, what have you, personal choices that you make?
Yeah, so I guess I can kind of start from the beginning, because for my spiritual journey, I really have been on most of it by myself. There aren't a lot of people in my life that are on a spiritual journey or kind of relate to what I'm really into. So I went to social media to get a new perspective, get just anything that I kind of could, because it's like walking in blind at first a little bit. So going to social media actually ended up like putting me in this just really not good spiral kind of with my spirituality. I was just forcing myself to do practices or follow certain things just because people are telling me. But at the same time, you have so many people just saying their opinions and that their opinions are the only ones that are right, but they're also conflicting with other people's. It just kind of ends up like you end up kind of just getting so confused. You don't know what is right. For me, it really, I don't think my spiritual awakening truly started until I got out of that cycle of looking to others so much for my spiritual practice. Because now, for me, my spiritual practice is not very similar to many other people. I do have a lot of different things that are pretty general for the spiritual community, but most things I kind of just go with what feels right for me. And that usually doesn't always fit into the normal spiritual boxes. But I don't know, being where I'm at now, it doesn't really bother me that it doesn't fit in the boxes. It's still nerve-wracking, but and it's still like being on here is definitely a big thing, being open about what is personal to me and my practices. But I hope other people can, find some inspiration or relatability to just do the same thing, follow what feels right, no matter if it's the typical spiritual practices or not.
I personally, I can very, 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 very relate to what you have mentioned. For my own personal spiritual journey, I started with similar. So, but I actually follow one teacher. That was the time that I was literally following one teacher, and whatever she say, I think that she's right. Until I find the thing that she say does not really resonate with me. Yeah. Yeah, so many of the practices that you can see on social media, TikTok, they are like, you have to do, oh, it's a full moon, so you have to do this, this, this. Oh, it's a new moon, you have to do this, this, this. That is the most common one, I believe. Yeah, and I did that before as well until there was this time that I feel like, hey, it is new moon, but I don't feel like manifesting today. Then and I just started to think like, hey, what am I feeling? Why do I feel this way? Or sometimes I did try to push it through as well, and manifestation didn't come back, or it come back backfire. So yeah, it's just like there's so much information out there, and as you mentioned, a lot of people are going to think that their truth is the only truth out there. But I do believe that yes, there are various different truths. It's just on different perspective and different spectrum, and you are able to decide for yourself whether it aligns with you or not, because you'll feel that it might take a while for you to get the footing at first, but you will find that footing. I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah, Chryssa did. Like, look at her. She is, amazing today. Like, yeah, I love that you're doing your own personal practices. Would you like to share some of them?
Yeah. So let's see. I think manifestation is a big thing for me. You can kind of get lost in a lot of the opinions on manifestation, which is the biggest thing. Like, people will tell you can't manifest on a full moon or on a certain day, but you can on other days. You shouldn't be doing this, but then you should be doing that with your manifestation, or like every thought that you have manifests, like you need to be conscious of it. It's a lot. You need to write down your manifestations. Gets confusing. But for me, what ultimately has felt the best is I just really speak out loud my manifestations. And if I do kind of have a dialogue in my mind, like instead of writing things down manifestation wise, I let my thoughts go and manifest. I usually try to put an intention into the time that I'm going to be manifesting my thoughts. So then it's not always manifesting. My thoughts are not always manifesting. I still have some slip ups where I'm like, are my thoughts manifesting if I'm having a bad day? But then I just remind myself that those are just some crazy opinions that people have, and none of my crazy thoughts have manifested in any way since being on my spiritual journey. So I really go with what feels right, whether that's speaking them out loud, or just having my thoughts kind of manifest. I think the biggest thing is just kind of letting it flow. It's always when I least expect it, I find that my manifestations have manifested in front of me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here we are. I didn't expect to get here, like, kind of thing. It kind of is like, at first it's a little, oh my gosh, I really just did this. Like, I'm a powerful spiritual being, but that's also so important and so rewarding on your journey that I think that's so important when you are going for your personal practice. Go with what makes you feel rewarded, what makes you feel alive, what really sparks your spirituality for you personally.
So true. I'm just like, I need to clap over here. Yeah, it's just like there's so many of the restriction. It become like spirituality is supposed to be something that set one's free. So instead, a lot of us come into spirituality, we get restricted because, yeah, what I want to say, yes, that being a spiritual person, we cannot have negative thoughts, we cannot have negative emotion, we cannot get jealous, we cannot get angry, and like, what the hell should we do? Are we not human? That's my question to myself all the time. Like, am I not human? Am I not supposed to feel this? Like, of course, if someone screw me over, I'm going to send some hate over there. Like, it's normal human. And spirituality kind of like take that away from us. It's just like it becomes, I have to say it becomes another form of religion instead of just spirituality where it promotes freedom.
Yeah. A big word that popped into my mind when you were saying that was performative. Really feel that a lot. I think especially right now when the spiritual community is really growing exponentially, pretty fast. It's so many more opinions, so many people that I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people now that are kind of getting into it for the wrong reasons. If we're going to look at astrology, there are some astrological aspects and things going on right now that kind of show that the spiritual community is a great community, but there are going to be some dark spots in general online, especially, which is where most of the spiritual community is right now. Thankfully, so many people are starting to create new options. I'm going to promote Novanet, even though I'm not on there. And then also the healing page. Your healing forum is going to be super nice for people to kind of find a new outlet to relate and conversate with people in the spiritual community that's not so engulfing in a way. Personally, I can't really be on social media very long. I only have Twitter at this point, but I'm barely ever on it. At this point in my spiritual journey, I kind of soak up a lot of energy, no matter how much protection I put on myself. So being on Twitter is just so draining. And when you continue to see so many different opinions on what you're supposed to do with your spiritual practice, it's even more draining. You get kind of lost in all of that. And so I just avoid it because it's easier. And my spirituality flows more when I'm not on social media. But I do have to say it's important to find those other outlets to talk to people, because that is just a pivotal part of the spiritual journey.
Having, I would say, like close community, or one or two friends who are close to, who you can talk to, is always important. Yeah. Personal, I have my gang as well. It's just that when I do not want to go on Twitter and bring all my drama up there, okay, guys, let's have a chat. Yeah. Okay, I'm making it sound like I'm getting them for therapy session. It's not that. It's just like I want to rant about spiritual things, and I know I can't rant it on Twitter or any social media, I will be like, okay, let's sit down and I need to rant. Yeah. But yeah, I usually would leave room for like, hey, this is my opinion on this. If you do not, resonate with this, you do not agree with it, it's okay. Like you can have your own opinion, I can have mine. We don't always have to agree, which I think the spiritual community is getting to that point where only my point is correct and yours is wrong. Why do they have to be wrong? Like, no one is wrong. Everyone is right to me. At least I see that way.
Yeah, I think that also puts this black and white point on it, which the biggest part of the spiritual community is knowing that spectrum of the rainbow that goes in between the black and white. So making those opinions that I'm the only one that's right is like, I mean, what part of spirituality is that that's black and white? I don't know, it just isn't truly true in a way, it feels like, because it just is pressure. It's pressure on people that is unneeded, especially when you're new to the journey. I still sometimes get slipped up into it. It's sometimes like a struggle. It's actually like a big reason for me personally that I've been thinking about kind of putting myself out there more in the spiritual community. But a big thing that stops me actually is I'm scared that people are going to think that my opinions are the only ones that are right. And I don't want people to think that. But I also know that I can say that as many times as I want and people still might think that my opinion is the only one that is right. But that is not a message I'm trying to share, because I love to be debated. I love to have my mind expanded. So, if I say something and somebody gives me a response and it's completely different or it contradicts what I just said, I'm going to take that in and consider it and change my opinion probably, and learn from that. And that's just a big thing, is kind of, you can take them all into consideration, but it doesn't have to be your practice or your opinion.
Yes, so true. Yeah, makes me remember one of the spiritualists who ever mentioned about this. Accept that there are so many truths, but we do not have to agree with them. Like, there are so many different truths for everyone. We don't have to agree. We can disagree and move on.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to put it out there. There's one of my friend who, she's not on social media. She's a typical Scorpio. And me and her love to have, debates, and we will always end up with, hey, okay, I can't talk to you anymore on this. Let's agree to disagree. And then we're like, okay, agree to disagree. Okay, let's go. Yeah. And I hope more people can practice on this, especially on social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially on social media, I honestly look for that in my own personal relationships. I don't always want to say, okay, we have to stop and say I agree, disagree, but I definitely look for people that are going to challenge my opinions, and second guess me a little bit with my opinions, because I don't want anybody to blindly believe or go with what I'm saying, no matter what the topic is. It's just, I am not higher than anybody else to think that my opinion is more important. I really think very big on equality. Nobody is higher or lower than another. And that can kind of get lost, especially with so many different, like, this is the only right, this is the only wrong, like, this is so wrong, this is right. It just gets out of control.
I just have another thought here. Social media people, like, nowadays kind of either put you on a pedestal or they're canceling you. Either or both.
Probably both.
Yep. So it's just like, okay, yeah, and I can understand your fear of going on social media because of that. Like, yeah, I do have to do that as well, to repeat to people, like, I'm not your savior. I'm not to tell you what you can do. Like, do your own thing. Like, this is my opinion. Like, hello.
Yeah. That's one of the things that made me fall in love with you and your site. I've told you this before, but when I first contacted you to do a personal meeting session, the email you sent me was just very clear. What I say is not what is right all the time. You don't have to blindly follow me. You don't have to see me again as your reader for anything or Reiki practitioner. Just, decide what feels right to you. There's no pressure here. And that's truly what made me fall in love with you. And yeah, I see a therapist too. And that's exactly what she told me too, which was, you don't have to see me again. What I'm telling you is not the end all be all. And it's what truly is like what forms a lot of really good relationships, having that baseline.
Totally. Sorry, I was distracted because someone was messaging me. So I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm going to silence it. Yeah. The message page, she will silence the phone. Yeah. But yeah, I think that is for me, that is something that I really resonate with, because I think that's part of how my spiritual journey comes to, because I follow a teacher who is like, my way is the only way, there's no other way. So I had to break out of that, and it took me about 3-4 years to really break out of that. And sometimes I still feel the judgment on me. But yeah, I try to provide that safe space. Like, I try my best, but yeah, this is not about me. I'm just like, why am I talking about this? Yeah, but I think if more people practice this, there will be more of a safe space for especially newcomers to to really dive into spirituality without feeling like they have to restrict themselves, or that they can't voice out their opinions. Yeah, can't voice out my opinions is one of the biggest things that I felt when I first started my spiritual journey myself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's truly something I feel too. I just rather not say anything than voice it, because it just, I don't know, I welcome debating opinions, but attacking my opinion, especially when it pertains to like my own personal spiritual practices, really, it's just kind of, it doesn't make you feel good in any way. I think it gets you lost on your journey too, because one minute you're kind of following yourself and the next minute you're deterred off that path, like what is right, just because somebody told you that the fact that you manifest on a full moon is incorrect. You're now like, oh my gosh, is my whole world gonna crash down? Like, it happens to me, at least, I mean, yeah, it happens to me still pretty often, but it just is hugs. It just is really, I'm thankful that I have so many tools to get myself out of those now, because I don't let that stick me into one opinion or into one spot, or really get lost off of the path of following me.
Yes, awesome. Yeah, I love that. Also, since we are mentioning about manifestation on full moon, new moon, I just want to add, like, for ladies, for us, female bodies, okay, yeah, I know a lot of, like, maybe non-binaries. I think, Chryssa, you're one who prefer to be known as non-binary, is it?
No.
Female? Okay. Sorry about that. I just want to confirm as well. But yes, our female body, we have a physical body, and we have our moon cycles, and that would affect whether we should, manifest during full moon and new moon as well. Yes. Yeah. So many factors about this, like, and astrology. And astrologically, I think you know more than me.
I do my deep astrology research. I'm an 8th house stellium, so I love my occult, weird type of spiritual stuff. Astrology is along those lines. it's kind of why I'm obsessed with all of this and why it resonates so strongly with me. But also a big theme is with that is transformation, death and rebirth. So for me, I think especially with having death and rebirth and transformation be a pivotal part of my life in general, really kind of changes when I manifest. Sometimes it like depends on astrologically for me, maybe it's more favorable to manifest on a certain day. Honestly, I don't really manifest on full moons or new moons specifically. I did for this past new moon. That was also the Lionsgate portal opening. But that also is because it's Leo season. I'm an eighth house stellium. I have like so many planets transiting the eighth house right now that it kind of just felt like it was the right thing. I mean, 8 as well, but usually I don't pick any moons to specifically manifest. I just kind of do it when it feels right to me, and it works out no matter what day or when or how I do it. If it's meant to be, it will be.
Yeah, high five. Me too. When I feel like manifesting, I was just like, hey God, I got a request. Yeah. Personal practice as well, I don't write them down. I do sometimes, depends on my mood. Sometimes I do like to write them down, like gratitude journal, something like that. Other times I just like, hi God, I got a request. Let's hear me out, okay? Hear me out. This is my request. Yeah. I think it's very important to have fun with it. I think you mentioned about that earlier. To have fun with the spirituality allows it to flow. And when the energy flows, things are just going to come into your life so much easier.
Yeah, truly the flow. I always say let go into the flow. It's hard to get there at first, but when you get there, it's just a freeing feeling in a way. Just kind of letting that flow. Definitely can get stopped up sometimes, but you'll get back there once it kind of starts. And I think having fun on your spiritual journey is like the most important. Like if I love sloths, and if I want to manifest a bunch of sloth stuff, then I'm going to just, although that maybe isn't like very spiritual or nobody really cares about it or anything, that's something that I really enjoy and love. So that's kind of why I do it. I do what feels right and what really makes me happy and what is fun.
Me too. I have to 100% agree. Me too. My manifestation, like kind of a power boost up when I'm excited about the things that I'm manifesting. Like I still remember very 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 clearly is that in the year 20, I think it's between 2016 to 2019. Okay, that was the whole long year, but especially 2016, I kind of accidentally manifesting myself 7 trips to Japan in 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just like when you have fun, when you just really want it comes, right? And most likely is when you are least expecting it, because every other time I'm just like, I'm not able to do that. I will not be able to do this. I'm not going to go like month after month, and I'm just like, hey, I'm here in Japan again. Hi. Yeah. So have fun. Like just put your wildest wish out there. I think that will pay off.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, there's no harm in trying.
Yeah. I think a big a thing I thought about when you said that was also kind of leaving it somewhat open-ended. I like to always say at the end, kind of like, or better, whatever serves my highest and greatest good the most, because sometimes what we're wishing for ourselves is not what we truly deserve. We maybe deserve more than what we're wishing for. And you want to leave the space for that to come through, because I know me personally, I want if there's something better than what I'm wishing, I want it.
sometimes it does come that way. And when you're least expecting it, it'll be like, God will be like, hi, surprise, here you go, your gift is here. And you'll be like, okay, I think I wanted that 3 months ago. Okay, so I will receive it. Time is also very the restriction as well for time. Like sometimes we want something right now, and the timing might not be right. So that come with the flow, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say timing never works out for me. It's never worked out for me. Like every time I've ever tried to put a timeline on things and it never happens. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing because it's not like those things don't happen. It just usually is not going to happen in that time frame. It like is better to flow with it. A lot of the times, like things that I'm thinking, okay, I wanted in this time frame, it come even earlier because I didn't put a time frame on it. But when you do, it is a restriction. It kind of stops it from really flowing.
True. Very, very true. And we just went off into the whole manifestation talk, and I hope everyone is like enjoying this part and learn a lot from it, because I personally would love to hear something like this when I was first started, instead of all the rules and regulation, laws of attractions. Don't let me go into that. I have a lot of ranting to do.
I honestly have a lot of ranting to do too, so we'll have to rant after this. Yeah. I honestly hope this whole thing is kind of just helpful for anyone that is like new to their spiritual journey. I did not have a lot to reference, like I said earlier. So like creating those resources and sharing resources as well, like other people's sites, is so important for me to share with others, because I wish I had that. And I only started my journey like 2 years ago, but I just ended up finding a lot of differentiating opinions, and then nobody around me had any real like opinions on spirituality. My therapist is the person that like kind of opened my journey to me, so there's like that kind of cuts off how much she can really teach me about spirituality. So that really left me to kind of figure it out on my own, and I wish I had more resources so I didn't get so lost in differentiating opinions and instead could just find so many. It's I am so glad we're at the point that we're at. We have all of Paige's Slice of Life episodes to check out, as well as your blog. A bunch of other people have blogs. I mentioned before, Novanet. Paige is now on Novanet, and there are so many other people that have different platforms that can offer resources to you, no matter what you're looking for, truly.
And don't be afraid to try out. Sometimes it worth to when you feel kind of like resonate with the person, but you're not sure. Don't be afraid to kind of like reach out and like, hi, I kind of resonate with your energy, like what can we do about this? I do that sometimes as well, and I'm like, I love your energy. I think we should connect. I don't know what we should do, but we should connect.
I need to do that more.
Reach out, especially the person that feels right to you. I think that would really, really be helpful. I kind of make quite a bit of friends on my end. I don't want to name drop, but I kind of made a few friends through this way, and I'm really grateful for that, for that connection.
That's kind of how I sent you an email before I ever signed up for anything to kind of, hey, my 8th house stellium self is like, okay, just a little bit of crumbs to people, like don't give them too much. So it's harder for me to reach out to people, but it is like, you were so nice to me, I did so much research to see who was the right practitioner for me in spirituality and who would be a good mentor. I took months to figure it out, until kind of my guides and angels led me to you. and it's felt right. And now we're really good friends, and you have even introduced me to other people in the spiritual community, and different opinions and resources. So it's worth it to reach out, as nerve-wracking as it can be. As much as I am somebody that will write an email and redo it 5 times because I'm crazy and want it to sound perfect. I'm a Virgo. Perfectionist. Yeah. Still at some point send it whenever it feels right, and it usually works out in your favor. And if it doesn't, maybe that person just wasn't right for you.
Definitely. Yeah, reaching out is, just write the email. Right now, there is Novanet. I think Novanet, yes. And yeah, you can actually find a lot of like teachers and practitioners over there. And just like, if you do not want to just follow, or you do not want to just reach out to them, follow their social media for a bit and see what they say, whether they resonate with you. I think that would be really helpful for finding the right person, or right healer, right teacher, right guides, whoever you want to call them. Yeah, you'll find the right person for you. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree.
Mm.
It will come to you.
I want to say I'm an 8th house stadium too.
Yes,
and yeah, and I do that. I do sometimes, like, I wouldn't say stalk the person, but I will follow the person and check out their tweets, for a few weeks to few months, and I'm like, okay, I resonate with this person. Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't trust anybody at first, so I'm like, I wouldn't say, yes, not the word stalk, but I say do our research. I do my research no matter what I'm doing. Like, I could literally, what is something that like doesn't really matter? Trying to think of something. I don't know. Like, I've been trying to look for a new vacuum. I've been doing so much research on the right type of vacuum. And it's like, why? It's just a vacuum. It doesn't really matter, but I don't trust it. I can't just get anything that anybody says is right. And I think, especially, honestly, in the spiritual community, I think it's actually important to do the research for a while, because maybe the first person that you signed up with does not resonate even after that first meeting, or maybe a few months down the line. So it kind of is just do your research, see what feels right. Maybe have like 3 people that you would reference, see who responds to what.
Yeah. And don't be afraid. I think I would like to give our listener this part as well. Don't be afraid that in the middle, if you do not feel right with a service, the person and what they do, what they say, because people do change. Okay, we are all changing every single day. Like, don't hold the person to, like, they're going to be like this one and forever be this. I personally won't do it. Yeah. Yes. If in any point you don't resonate their service, don't resonate with the way they deliver, or you don't resonate with the person at all, give them a break. You can feel free to give them a break, go and search, expand to some other, and if you feel right, you can come back to them, or if you do not feel right, then it's fine. There's so many people who kind of like afraid to let go of that spiritual guide or that leader that they're following. So I'm just like, it's okay to let go and search for something else. Always.
Yeah, it is very true. A big thing to think about, for sure. I feel like I've been talking so much. I'm trying to give you some time to talk.
Yeah. What was I actually thinking about? Like, I do not have my notebook with me, so bear with me as well. I lost my thoughts sometimes, and I just like, I got this. Okay, I forgot about it for now. Yeah, it happens. But yes, I think in one of the conversation you're talking, and it just struck me that how in this, okay, in overall, it's not just spiritual community. This happened in a lot of different communities. Okay, there's this trend is that once you started doing something, okay, like for someone, I think wrote the example for you before. Like someone started with yoga because they'd be like, oh, yoga can help me strengthen my body muscles, help me to become more flexible and healthy. Okay, that's the person's first thought and intention when they got into yoga. Okay, but once they got into yoga, and then the classmate started to be like, hey, you want to get into yoga? You have to get into meditation. Or, the other classmate will be like, you want to get into yoga and healthy, you need to get into vegan. Like, you have to start eating vegetables more and stop eating meat. And maybe some other will be like, oh, you are doing yoga, then you have to start reading tarot. And I think that is the point. I think, you have a choice to question. Are these things that they are offering or they are trying to get you to get into right for you or not? If you are into, doing yoga and you're not into doing tarot, it's okay. It's okay. That is your choice. That is something that, you just want to do yoga and then do yoga and ignore other people, what they are trying to push on you. It is hard, especially peer pressure. It is so freaking hard. I know, but you don't have to. Like, starting with spirituality as well. Like, how many of us, like, once we get into spirituality, we feel like we have to read tarot, we have to start Reiki, we have to open our Akashic records, we have to know about chakras. And you're like, excuse me?
You're saying that, Liz. I'm like, I don't read tarot cards. I'm not a Reiki practitioner. I just recently opened my Akashic records, and that relationship is going well, but it's something like I said it in the beginning of the video, my spiritual practice is not your typical practice. I'm not doing your stereotypical tarot cards and Reiki, like the things that people almost say, like you have to be doing this for you to be a spiritual practitioner or just in the spiritual community. I think you said veganism, food specifically, like I've seen a lot of people say that you can't be a spiritual being if you eat meat, if you eat animals. And I mean, if we're taking all of that out and look at ourselves and our bodies and our health, literally not everybody can do that because of their health. Like your health can just say like, okay, I need to have more iron. And yes, you can eat as much spinach as you want for iron. You also, it's like, how much spinach can you eat? And you still maybe can, if you like red meat, then eat red meat if you want to. I think it just kind of depends on like what is right for you. For me, like I know that my body and what I consume can kind of be just like throw my body off completely health-wise, depending on what I eat. So I go with what feels right. If I want to eat chicken, then I'll eat chicken. I'm more conscious of getting, free-range chicken and things like that. But I'm not going to stop myself because otherwise it is like restricting. Half the time when I first did that and I first started restricting my diet, I got into a very unhealthy cycle of just like not really eating at all because I didn't like want half the stuff that I would get. I think intuitive eating is a big thing. I've heard in spirituality. So sometimes like my body doesn't want to eat something that I have prepared for myself. And what am I going to do then? And then you just don't eat, but that's not healthy either. So really go for what feels right and what is right for you and your body and your spirituality, whatever.
Yes, totally. Just a tip, okay? When you prepare yourself some food, that is something that happens to me a lot because, okay, my body is picky, so
yes,
I have to say that. So sometimes I do only have a certain food in my fridge, and I'm lazy to get takeout. I am lazy to rebuy my grocery, especially when it's late and I'm hungry. And I'll be like, okay, I will sit down with my body. Is it okay for you to have this first for today? I will get you the food that you want tomorrow. Negotiate. Yeah, I think body is actually very intelligent. That's what I always been telling, I think, everyone. So you can actually talk to your body like, hey, because today I do not have that. Like, can you take this for today? Like, I will compensate you tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. And yes, personally, I can't go without meat myself. I kind of like have iron deficiency. If I am not eating enough, like kind of like, I do not have spinach easily available in my market as well. I think Asian, they do not have too much spinach or something. I do not know. So usually my go to is like red meat. Yeah. Otherwise, I will be like, usually is that dizziness that is something that occurs to me, or vertigo that is actually happened to me like 3 to 4 times already, and I hate that feeling.
Yeah, I've had vertigo before. That's not not a good feeling at all. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think go ahead. I was just gonna say, go with what feels right is exactly what I was gonna say.
Yes, yeah, go with what feels right, and don't get roped into. I know it's hard to do so, but at the end of the day, I think it is important for us to reflect on whether the thing that we start doing is it right for us or not. I see with myself, like when I want to, or when I feel someone is like trying to tell me like you have to do this, I will take the whole day and just like sitting with myself. Is that aligned with me? Is that what spirits want to tell me that I should do? Do I want to do it? If my answer is no, then I'm like, I'm not doing it. Like, excuse you? Yeah. It take me a while to get here though. It took me a while. Yeah.
I think that's one of my favorite things about something that you've taught me is just kind of, you've been on your journey for a few years now. So you kind of have the experience and to share, like it can take years to get places. If I truly look back, I would say like my spiritual journey started 2 years ago in the sense that I found my spirituality, but I would say for like 2 or 3 years before that, I was definitely on a whole like breakdown before death before rebirth type of thing for my spirituality. So it just kind of is, it's like it takes years. And did I think that really my breakdown lasted like 3 years? No. But if I look back, I'm like, yeah, I totally had a breakdown of 3 years. I would say that my spiritual awakening has been months, psychic awakening months, then it takes breaks and it comes back. Like it just really depends on what you're accessing, what's awakening. The more work you do, the more it will change. I think what you kind of touched on earlier, just if your opinion changes and it doesn't feel right to you literally within 24 hours, that's okay. And even if it's different than somebody else's as well, that's okay. It's my opinion changes so much, especially with spirituality and my own personal practice. So it really is like, I just have to let myself flow and give myself the option to change my opinions. And that's okay, no matter who tells you it's not, because I tell you, there are lots of people in my life that are like, you change your mind and your opinions too much, too fast. And I'm like, I just learn a lot. I love to soak up knowledge. And when you learn more, your opinions change.
Yes, because you gain a look at the bigger picture. And when you see that, you just kind of like, you grow and you change. It's life. Yeah. And yeah, I think don't hold yourself too much to like, this is the person I'm supposed to be. I don't think there is anything that we're supposed to be apart from ourselves. So, yourself change, so you change. And it's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think most of the people that are following, they do change as well. And I do not want to, like, a lot of times I'd be like, hey, they say something that I do not agree with at the moment. It's okay. They can have their opinions and I can have mine. I do not have to engage with that, for one. I can be like, they have their own, I have mine. I do not have to engage with that. And I really hope more people are going to learn about this. Like, please don't start a war on Twitter again.
Oh my.
Yeah, but yeah, like if a war on Twitter is something that you feel called to do, okay, fine, go on and do it. I will take my step back.
Yeah, same. I'm from afar.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter is a Aries, so you know,
I didn't know that. That makes so much sense.
Twitter is an Aries, so yeah.
I have 4 cats, 3 Tauruses, 1 Aries. Oh, not Aries.
The Aries.
She's just like, you can tell she's an Aries the way that she is about everything. It's
I love that though.
I love her so much. I love them all so much, but it is Aries have their I think a fiery sense to them that it makes sense that Twitter kind of has that. Like, it almost seems like they can be fine chilling and then boom, it's like they're irritated. That's how my cat works, basically. And that kind of feels how Twitter is. Usually you can be like down your timeline, like, okay, this is looking good, positive, boom, something, like, even if somebody's not getting in a fight, you just see something negative that's happening in the world overall or in the news, and it's like, it just brought down my whole Twitter feed, my whole day, like hour that I was on here or whatever. It's just, yeah, it's not, it makes sense that they're an Aries.
Twitter is, I personally like Twitter because I like how straightforward it is. Yeah, but I feel that as well. Like sometimes I do not even go to my timeline. I have to admit, I just go into my mansion and my DMs and bye guys. Yeah, that is a one good way to navigate it. Another good way is that if you want to mute 90% of who you're following, probably that will help your feed as well.
Yeah, that's true. Or just unfollow them. If you want to unfollow people, do not feel bad for unfollowing them, just unfollow. And if people are complaining that you unfollowed them, that's their problem, not yours.
Exactly. Yes, that is actually one of the personal choices that you have to make. It's okay. If other people are triggered by what you do, what you say, that's their problem most of the time, not yours.
Yeah. Because I think a big thing is, differentiating what is yours and what isn't.
That is another topic we should go into another time. Differentiating what is yours, especially energetic wise, is just like, that is the big one.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, because we do internalize so much. Internalizing that works with the the other people's opinions. They like, if they are insisting that they are right, you don't have to internalize that. I think that is one of that intervene with today's topic as well.
Yeah, for sure.
We've come a long way.
I know. I take a sigh of relief for a minute.
Yeah, it's such a fun topic to touch on. There is so much more, like always so much more, but in a nutshell, just follow what you feel like. Yeah. And another thing I want to touch on is, like, don't feel like you have to like a certain person or a certain practices just because everyone else is doing it. I think kind of like we touch on that, but not really touch on that.
Yeah, we did touch on it, but not really.
Like, it's okay to not like it. Like, hey, look at Chryssa. Chryssa does not practice what everyone else is practicing. I personally stopped tarot as well because I don't see I don't resonate with tarot after a while. I love tarot when I started with it. And in the middle, I kind of like, I changed my mind. I do not want to rely on tarot to tell me about my future, to my decision. So what am I using tarot for?
That is the exact reason I haven't gotten into tarot. I'm not trying to get into an unhealthy cycle of looking to tarot all the time to make my decisions and what's gonna happen.
Exactly. When I used to like tarot, I was still into a very big twin flame thing, and I used that to like read someone else, like how do they feel about me, and I'm not into that now either. So
yeah, this is a different subject, but I do have to say the twin flame, soulmate, I don't know, karmic partner subject is something that you just, I don't know. If it feels right to you, go for it, but don't get lost in that, because I got lost in that, and I thought people that like I didn't want to come back into my life were going to come back into my life and all these different things, and it's like, okay, no, just like, it's not for me. This is for other people. I don't even know if I don't think, I'm not looking for a twin flame or anything else. I already have a karmic partner in my life that is not a romantic partner. So that's another thing. They don't have to be romantic.
yes, so true. And I think I mentioned in one of the past slice of life episode, I think with Victoria, if I'm not wrong, it's with Victoria, and we talk about twin flame. And yes, highly recommend, personal opinion, okay, do not have to take it, but highly recommend to not manifest yourself a twin flame. Don't do it. Don't do it. Highly recommend not doing it. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, that is another another big topic. I was very into it back then as well, and I got out of it. So I was just like, I want to high five you. Yes.
Yeah. That feels like one of the most like dark parts of spirituality for me, because it just got me stuck on people I didn't need to be stuck on, and yeah, just a not good thing. And it was a big part of it was other people's opinions. It was not even something that I was really thinking about. I did not learn about twin flames until I went on to Twitter and found out about it, and then kind of got lost in people's opinions about it, and was this person coming for me or were they not, and all these different things. And it was just like, twin flames truly don't resonate with me that much. So I just let them go. And when I see stuff, just scroll through and ignore it until I find stuff that resonates more.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah, twin flame topic. Okay, twin flame, the subject is actually the reason I eventually left my original teacher as well, because she was teaching something about that as well. So eventually I'm just like, that doesn't seem really right. Like, you have one soulmate that you kind of like get tied to for the rest of your however many life. Can we don't have that?
Yeah.
Can I do that? That sounds boring. One person?
No. They also say that they're not good for you at the same time. Like, it's like contradicting. They're like one person, but they won't really be good for you. It's like, okay, then why is it one person? Why am I tied down to this person?
Yeah, so that was my big red flag for me personally. But if anyone watching who are resonating with that, who has twin flame, go on and follow your journey.
Yeah, I think that's another thing I just want to say is, if you are seeing a practitioner and you don't agree with one of their opinions and you voice that to them, if they are hostile or just being rude for no reason, you can totally just cut that off. I've said that you can cut it off for no reason, but specifically if people are going to be rude to you about your opinions and the fact that you don't agree, that's specifically on spirituality and twin flames, just kind of all of these topics. Just like end the relationship and move on. Find somebody that does resonate and doesn't attack you for having a different opinion.
Exactly. So well said. Yay. Yeah. Also, if they are going to, I want to add is that if they're going to like gaslight you, if they are going to try and make you feel like you are not you are not in this journey long enough to know what you're talking about, which a lot of, I do personally find a lot of spiritual teacher when I first started, a lot of them are doing this. Like, yeah, you do not know what you're talking about because you're so new. Trust that you do know what you are talking about, especially when it comes to your own personal spiritual journey, because no one knows better than you do about yourself.
Yeah. I totally forgot about that for a minute, but that's something I actually like battle still now. It's like, yes, I've been on my journey for 2 years, but I still feel so novice to it. And then I see other people's opinions that like, okay, if you haven't been on it for that long, then you don't know that much. And someone says, from my experience, it took me years to get to this point. So basically, it should take everybody this many years to get to this point, if not more years. But it is like, for me, as soon as I started following things, my spiritual journey progressed in places that I shouldn't have been at within the first year of my spiritual journey. But that doesn't mean that it's not valid, or that I'm any less than of a spiritual person. And it's like, I think you actually have an episode with somebody that mentioned that they kind of only started their journey back in 2020. And they were just super confident, and it like inspired me a little bit more to kind of put more effort into letting myself kind of just be and share any information that I want to share. Just because I'm only 2 years in doesn't mean that I don't have any opinions that matter or might be helpful to others.
You definitely do. And I do encourage you to please share, if you do not want to do it on Twitter, tweet some other places, okay? Find the right one for you. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there are more new like network and new platform social media that is popping up. So, feel free to browse your Play Store or your Apple Store to find something new.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like I personally think like years does not really matter. Like, of course, when you put in that much work, when you put in that much research, you do kind of like know more. Okay, but doesn't mean that the other person, their opinions, the experience does not matter. Yeah, and not to mention that there are a lot of spiritualists. Okay, we do kind of like sharing life experience. Some people do have already have a lot of life experience that they can share, and I think that is valuable experiences and likely new perspective that like for me, I'm like in how many years I don't even know. So I think like 3-4 years. Like I can't really count because my spiritual awakening is like kind of like gradual. So yeah, but yes, like I would think a fresh new perspective can allow me to learn something new. And those of us who are kind of like seasoned, okay, I do kind of like encourage, be more open-minded to hear something new. Maybe you will find yourself changing and growing from there as well.
Yeah. I think that's one of the greatest things of our friendship. We both learn from each other, but I'm like a novice to this, but I'm still able to teach you a few things. And so nobody should feel like your opinions or what you have to share isn't important, isn't going to be helpful to people, or is invalid, because it's not true. I know that honestly, half the time, the people that you can relate to the most when you're really new to your journey is the people that are also somewhat new to their journey. Maybe a year in is somebody that could be really relatable more than somebody that's been doing it or in their journey for 10 years, because they have that fresh memory of what it was like when they first started out. I know that that's one of the reasons that I hope to talk more and spread more information and put myself out there a little bit more, because I am pretty new into this. And so I know what the beginning was and the difficulties of it, and navigating through that. I have some advice and some tools that I wish I would have had when I started out.
Yes. Very well said. I love that. Yeah. I would like to, like, seeing the time right now, I would like to chat with you. Do you have things to add on things or other topics you'd like to discuss on this topic?
I don't think so. I feel like I've said what I need to say. I hope it's helpful.
Yes, it definitely is. And I hope to see you, like, shining bright and like sharing more of your knowledge. And yeah, looking forward to, talking to you on some other topics another time as well.
Yeah, me too. I look forward to another episode.
Yes, love that. Okay, let me think. Okay, do you have anything you'd like to add? Any things you'd like to promote for now?
No.
But yes, if you guys, I know Chryssa is not very active on Twitter, but she has an account, Viva Goddess. So if you guys feel called to, please follow her, and I will share the link down below in the description as well. Okay?
I'm hoping to be more active on Twitter, so if you do follow me, I'm hoping to share more information, and I look forward to meeting anybody that follows me or just wants to reach out. Anyway, yeah.
Lovely. So I will be ending the live today. If that's all good.
Mhm.
Okay, see you guys next time, next episode.